Hello, everybody. I am on the floor at Messari Mainnet, and it is loud, so I'm going to go find a slightly quieter spot before hitting the floor again. We're going to kick off in just a second. This is the special edition on the floor, as we are sponsors of Messari Mainnet. We're here in New York to throw some parties celebrating not only a successful mainnet upgrade, but our second anniversary of private smart contracts on mainnet. Stick with us a second while we fill this room and promote the space. We will kick off probably about 5 minutes after the hour. Send this link around to pack the room. We got a lot to talk about. Shockwave Delta, we've got the conference, we've got so much coming. Stay tuned here. We'll kick off in just a moment. If you are in New York by chance, please hit us up. You can slide in our DMs here, or we'll see you at the party tonight. We do have a big secret speakeasy to celebrate. If you're not in New York, we're sorry, but we will be doing some other live opportunities from here at Messari Mainnet and from here in New York. And we will be tweeting updates. We'll be sharing photos from the party tonight, sharing photos from the floor. Guy Ziskin, CEO of Secret Lab, speaking on stage here shortly at Messari as well. So lots of updates coming today. Of course, the big news of the day is the successful mainnet upgrade for Shockwave Delta. That's bringing a lot of stuff with it. A Cosm Wasm V1 upgrade, interchain account, privacy as a service. All of this is now on the table. This is the long-term vision for Secret becoming the privacy hub for Web3. So a very exciting day for a lot of people and probably everybody on this space. Sit tight for just a second while we get everybody in here, but we are going to be kicking off in just a sec. As always, if you can do us the great favor of taking this link to this space, sharing it around your communities, wherever you are, so that they can get these updates. This is a really fun one just because we get to be on the ground here in New York, sharing secrets, connecting with the community. We've got Secret Labs here on the ground and Secret Foundation and the Shade Protocol guys and more. So a lot of great people here from the Secret ecosystem ready to talk about everything that's gone on for us over the past months. I think we're about ready to kick off, though. We're 5 minutes past the hour. So I'll mostly just be holding court here, giving the updates live on the ground. We don't really have any other guests today. We just have us here on the ground sharing what's up. So it might be a shorter space. We might only do a 30-minute space, but we want to get everybody up to speed and give you a live look into what it's like to be here on the ground at Messari Crypto, the mainnet conference here in New York. I've invited Jay up on stage as well, so Jay can give an update. Jay is our director of marketing at the Secret Foundation. Jay put together the party. He helped put together all of our sponsorships here in New York, and also our upcoming trip to Colombia for Cosmoverse. We're going down to Medellin. That's going to be really exciting. A lot of great people from the Cosmos are coming there. Actually, a lot of great people from the Cosmos are also here at Messari Mainnet. So with that said, I'll jump into that update. So we decided to come and be sponsors at Messari Mainnet for the second straight year. Last year we had a lot of success, gave away a lot of privacy hats, made a lot of wonderful connections, hosted a great side event as well, or were involved in a lot of side events here in New York. So we decided to do it again, but this year to really celebrate our second anniversary of getting private smart contracts onto mainnet, the first chain to do so, still the only chain to really have this level of functionality on mainnet for generalizable, privacy-preserving smart contracts. So tonight we're celebrating that, and we are celebrating the successful Shockwave Delta upgrade. So for the booth, we're tweeting out pictures so you guys can see. We brought our privacy hats, we brought our privacy shirts with the Secret logo on them. We brought our socks, of course, and a little bit of special swag for people who are attending the actual in-person party tonight. We also have special NFTs that anybody interacting with us can claim. Of course, they are privacy-preserving NFTs. Of course, they do have secrets inside. So super excited to introduce people to this really powerful idea of private by default, non-fungible tokens, but also the Shade Protocol guys are here introducing people to Secret DeFi. We've had great meetings so far between labs and foundation and all the DApp developers who are in town talking about the future of the Secret DeFi ecosystem, talking about the future of the Secret Metaverse ecosystem, and so much more. All of this stuff is getting much better integrated as the ecosystem grows. Also, of course, we're here to have meetings on meetings on meetings, a lot of business development meetings for the ecosystem that are focused around end user adoption. So we're meeting with wallets, we're meeting with funds, we're meeting with existing investors, we're meeting with people who are kind of Cosmos curious, secret curious, just doing a lot of educational work. There's two other wonderful privacy-focused sponsors here that we're quite near to. There's the Brave team, as well as the Zcash team here from Electric Coin Company. So we've been having really great conversations with them. We've got the Zcash team helping give out some privacy hats at their booth, just to help spread the mission and spread the message. Really wonderful team, and we always love seeing them everywhere we go at these conferences. Guy's going to be talking on stage shortly as well, as I mentioned. So Guy Ziskin, CEO of Secret Labs, is going to be sharing some of the updates from the ecosystem and also on a panel about the future of media in the Web3 space. As you guys may or may not be aware, earlier this year, Kevin Smith launched a complete movie as a secret NFT collection. So we're already innovating in that space. And obviously that has a lot to do with the privacy capabilities of the network. So Guy will be on stage discussing a lot of that. Probably going to get a lot of questions as a result. In general, this conference isn't very media focused. I think people might be used to the crypto ecosystem from the past little bit being very NFT focused. What we're seeing here is just a lot of people who are very technically focused or investment focused or DeFi focused. Usually if we go to things in Miami or Los Angeles or even Austin, there's been more of the focus on that metaverse side. Here, I think we're trying to put more front and center just what you can do with privacy as a service. And that's really great timing because with this recent Shockwave Delta upgrade, that is where we're trying to head. So that's my brief update from Messari Mainnet, which is my transition also into discussing Shockwave Delta. If anybody who's attending this space today, by the way, has questions about either or updates from their end of the secret ecosystem, this is an open space today. Please feel free to raise your hand. We'll drag you up here on stage. You can ask your questions, give your updates. This is the best time to do it because we have a lot to discuss and a lot of questions that we would be happy to answer. But just for a second, I'll focus on Shockwave Delta. So Shockwave Delta was today. We had the Shockwave Alpha upgrade earlier this year, which laid the foundation for this. That came with a lot of performance improvements. Shockwave Delta is the same, plus upgrading to Cosm Wasm V1. That's the big upgrade here, getting us on parity with a lot of these other Cosm Wasm enabled networks, such as Juno, so that we can interoperate with those networks more effectively, so that tokens can transfer between chains. Now you can send your SNP20 tokens, any token on secret, you can send via IBC to Osmosis, for example. We can have SNP20 tokens in pools on Osmosis, earning rewards. We can take tokens from other ecosystems into secret, earning rewards, say, on Sienna or on Shade. So really exciting stuff. Already we're seeing a lot of movement towards these kind of cross-chain initiatives. Shade's recently announcing that they're launching bonds, recently announcing not only secret bonds, but Atom and Osmo bonds as well. You can expect to see more of these cross-chain collaborations emerging over the coming weeks. The interchain ecosystem is definitely becoming more tightly knit, and this upgrade is a huge piece of secret becoming a bigger piece of and a more interoperable piece of that interchain ecosystem, which is super, super exciting. Other thing with Shockwave Delta is, we're trying to keep this momentum going forward through the Omega upgrade. Omega is planned around mainly upgrading our WASM engine, so there's higher performance for contracts in the network. But we're also still considering a ton of UX improvements for the network. A lot of that is being discussed. People are still, with the viewing key and the query model that we have to use to help users interact with the private components of the chain, there's still ways we can improve that. But we've also been having meetings today talking about all the ways that Secret could be used to provide UX experiences that are positive and not possible on any other network using these privacy advantages. So there's been a lot of discussion about what Secret could do to provide like walletless solutions for users. Again, we think that privacy is essential to the future of crypto UX. We don't agree with people who would say, like, you have to choose between a good experience and having your privacy, or you have to choose between decentralization and having your privacy. We're trying to create a layer one ecosystem that is also interoperable with every other network and provide privacy as a service while still providing a best-in-class user experience, while providing a best-in-class application experience, enabling things that couldn't be possible to be built on other networks. That's still the vision for Secret. That's still the long-term and the short-term plan. And I think we've made substantial progress towards this point with today's upgrade. Now we're just in New York on the ground to talk about it. So we've got all day here today in New York talking about this upgrade. We've got all day tomorrow talking about Secret with people at our booth and around the conference. All day Friday as well. We'll be attending some of the side events here. A lot of Cosmos teams are present here. There will obviously be more present at Cosmoverse in Columbia, but a few are here. Sunny is going to be speaking here. Zucky is going to be speaking here as well, if you guys know Sunny and Zucky from around the Cosmos ecosystem. So we're really excited to see that. But in general, you can tell there's a lot of momentum building towards the Cosmos interchain narrative around interoperability. And we're super happy to finally see this emerging, because that is the foundation that underlies our vision for being a privacy hub for Web3. It's the interchain that makes that possible, to interoperate more directly with all of these chains that require privacy as a service, or require being able to interact with a private by default chain for all their applications. So, yep, that's the high-level update from New York. That's what we're looking forward to. And then Secret Labs and Secret Foundation, at least, are going to be flying down to Colombia, where we're going to have some secret agents already there waiting for us. We're going to have some application teams down there as well, I think including the Bushi team and the Shade team as well. And that's going to take us through next week. We're going to be there all next week, at least through the 29th of September. So a big conference tour here to close out Q3 and to celebrate our mainnet upgrade, getting the word out and bringing a lot of new agents on board. Tonight, we're all looking forward to our speakeasy party. It's going to be unreal. I don't really want to give you guys too much FOMO, because I assume a lot of you are not in New York City, but we're really excited about this one. Really excited to show people what the Secret brand is like to experience in person. A lot of people haven't really interacted directly with Secret in this kind of tangible way. A lot of the time we like to say, like, privacy, even though it's invisible, it's essential. So when we can make these concepts more visible for people and show them how privacy isn't about hiding anything, but it's about having the freedom to explore pieces of your identity and experiences that you couldn't elsewhere, we want to give people a really great experience tonight. So we're really looking forward to a super, super exciting time with the entire community that's here on the ground in New York. Also looking forward to our side event in Colombia, where we're partnering with the Loop team to hold a side event that's all superhero themed. We're going to have a secret superhero on the ground, showing that privacy, of course, is a superpower in its own right. And you all have the right to use that superpower to protect yourselves online. So yeah, all of that's been very exciting for us. I would be remiss if I didn't thank all of the validators today who participated in the mainnet upgrade. Unbelievable work to get everything online and working. Great work by the DApp teams and the wallet teams who were anticipating these changes, making sure things weren't going to break on the fly. Minimal disruptions, which is really exciting to see. So yeah, thank you again if any of you guys are working on any of the validators in the Secret ecosystem, keeping all of the lights on for all the users who rely on these applications. That can't express our gratitude enough. So again, this is kind of an open space. I can't talk indefinitely at length, and nobody wants me to do that. So if anybody has direct questions, please raise your hand, or please jump up on stage to talk about your own projects in the Secret ecosystem, or share any kind of updates like that. Please come on up here and do that. Otherwise, it's just going to be me rehashing things for people who are stepping into the space a little bit later. We're doing this as a special edition this week because we want to be on the ground giving you these live updates. We don't have the usual 20 special guests. Next week, similarly, we're going to be down in Medellin covering Cosmoverse. Once all that is taken care of, we'll go back to our usual schedule of having unbelievable guests from inside and outside the Secret ecosystem talking about critical updates, critical topics. Today is pretty informal. So let's see. Anybody have a question? Anybody have an update? Please put your hands up. Throw an emoji out if you wish you could put your hand up, but you're not somewhere you can talk. Or if any of you actually are in New York and want to highlight that to us, we're trying to make sure we get everybody into our party tonight. So if you haven't RSVP'd, please RSVP. We'll try to get you in here. I believe for the party tonight, max capacity is something like 250 people at the venue, and I think we're approaching 4 figures in registrations. I don't think it'll be an issue, but it's actually beautiful weather here in New York. The last time we tried to hold a side event in New York, like in 2018, it was pouring. It was absolutely pouring rain, and we still packed the room. So with this kind of beautiful weather and this kind of vibe in the city, I have a good feeling about packing the room tonight, getting a bunch of great people involved. Jay, you've successfully joined the stage. You want to try to say something?
Yeah, sorry about that. I actually was listening intently to everything you were saying. Tor, just so you guys know, Tor's actually been walking around I'm sitting at the booth, and it's kind of cool. People are just we have had a steady flow of people who are just coming here talking. Guy is here at the booth talking to folks. Patrick is here. Eve Eveline is here talking to folks. It's a good turnout. It really is. To your point, the party for tonight, you're right. The capacity is around 200, and we are close to 1,000 registrants. So it'll be very interesting to see how many people show and how many people are able to come in and we can cycle through. So it's really going to be it's going to be very different tonight. It's not your traditional just get together party. It's at a legitimate speakeasy that was built in the late 20s here in New York. And there's a room that you literally have to walk through a bookshelf. It's a hidden room. And it's really cool. I can't wait we're shooting some video. We're going to be shooting photos. Obviously, we're going to be posting. But even if you can't come here, you can still be part of it when we share what we were able to do. And to your point, in Medellin, our Bushi's going to be with us, Shade's going to be with us at our booth during the conference. The Loop Party, we are a superhero sponsor, so they literally created unique costumes for us, our own unique secret superhero. And we're really a major component of that event, and I'm very excited to see what it's all about. Plus, I've never been to Colombia, so it'll be a good time for everybody, I think. But the most important thing about that is we do get to really meet and talk with people around the cosmos, other groups that we can maybe potentially come up with some decent collaboration and unification. So that's my 10,000 foot view of what I'm looking at. So a lot of cool things happening. Wish everyone could be here, but we will be posting as much as we can on social throughout the week, and so at least you can catch a glimpse and a sliver of what we're doing.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Jay, for the update, and thanks for holding down the booth while I wander around here. There's a lot of secret shirts and privacy hats already floating around. Last time we came to Messari, I think we gave away a few hundred privacy hats, and we saw them all over the city for indefinite periods of time afterwards. So the fact that keeps happening every time we come here means people are clearly passionate about why we build what we build and what we're building specifically. But that's good. I mean, it's certainly been in the news. People have been discussing some of the Tornado Cash sanctions with us. We've been explaining why our approach to privacy is exactly designed to avoid those kinds of things. When you build public by default chains and then you have to introduce these sort of mixing and privacy solutions on top of them, well, it makes privacy look like something that you're opting into, meaning you have something to hide. And of course, what we think is that everybody deserves privacy and therefore they should have it by default. And when everybody has it, you can't go and say, oh, because you have privacy, you're a criminal. You're sort of eliminating that argument. And it allows us to build a much more robust and sustainable ecosystem for privacy first development, for users to be confident that they'll be able to continue using these applications without fear of disruption. So we've had a good answer for that, and people have been very interested to see, our approach to these issues. As I said, the Zcash and the Brave guys are here talking through the issues the same way, both very privacy passionate projects. Been talking a lot with their teams. We'll be sitting down with them more later in the week. Some of them are also coming down to Cosmoverse, which is super exciting. If you're going to be at Cosmoverse, but not in New York currently, you can throw an emoji out into the chat here. We would love to see your teams catch up. There's been so much going on in the secret ecosystem, so many things launching. Would love to learn how we can be supporting you better as a DApp team, as a validator, as a secret agent, anything we can be doing in the secret ecosystem. We do want to do better. A lot of our conversations this week, since we have labs here and foundation here and agents here and DApp teams here, has just been around how to fix a lot of these processes around communication and support that sometimes when you live in 17 different time zones don't work perfectly, but we want them to work better. And the interchain is already about cross collaboration. We're trying to do a better job, all of us, so all feedback is welcome. If you're not already in the Discord, that's a great place to give feedback. You can go to chat.scrt.network to join the secret Discord. If you're not already a member of the secret forum, we've been having a lot of discussions around our DApp ecosystem, around governance, around developer relations support, and some of these roles that we're trying to build into the ecosystem and find sustainable solutions for. Please join the forum, which unsurprisingly is forum.scrt.network. You can join that conversation there. We would love to hear your thoughts on these issues. We have a very open ecosystem, which surprises some people when they know we're a privacy project, but we're all about permissionlessness and participation while being able to protect privacy. So we appreciate everybody who's been joining those discussions, and we would love to have the conversation continue. So with Jay and I up here, if people have questions about Mainnet and what we're doing here, questions about Cosmoverse, what we're going to do there, questions about today's Shockwave Delta upgrade and what that means for users and developers, questions about anything at all, floor is open. I'm going to add one speaker here. And then if anybody else, as I said, wants to join, raise a hand. You have an open invite. Feel free to stick your hand up. We'll try to pull you up here. But let's start with Village. Good to see you. Do you have a question or update?
I appreciate that. I've been using Secret Ecosystem for about a year now, or a little bit less, and I'm a big time fan. It has been a struggle at times because I have experienced slowness and things along those lines, but it's gotten so much better, and I'm sure will continue to get better. I believe in privacy, and you make a very good point about privacy as a default. I remember when cell phones came out, is that they weren't encrypted, and you actually have to pay money to get your call encrypted. And now it's a standard thing on all phones, and that makes sense. The general idea of privacy is key. One of the things that the reason why I use the secret space is for the secret transactions. And I know this ecosystem is in development and we're coming a long way, but the ability to actually have use cases, financial use cases within the system, I'm very eager to see more of that. I mean, we've come a long way. We have liquidity. We have, Shade's done wonderful work with some of their projects, and I believe their stable coin and Sienna Swap. They have the lending and borrowing, very, very good. But I'd really like to see a lot more with like what we have on other ecosystems like Friction. It has covered calls and puts and different types of trading strategies for options. And then you have, and they use that through vaults. There's some of that on Polygon with, I think, Theta Nuts. They also do the vault strategies. You have GMX and all these projects for perpetual futures and such. And so I just wanted to get a little feedback to see where the conference is there. Are we seeing more of these projects? I remember there was another project out there, Hydro Finance, for a little while. They looked like they were going to do something, but that didn't work out. So if you could update on just a little bit more with the more financial end of things, the more opportunities to actually use the ecosystem. Thank you.
Great question. Great prompt. So secret DeFi as a vertical, right? And when I say DeFi, I am talking about all those primitives you're mentioning, some of which are less primitive than others, like things that are more complex. Hedging strategies or perpetuals are kind of like the advanced version. The basic version of DeFi is just to have liquidity on decentralized exchanges or to have a lending protocol. So if all of that has been in development or launched, right? Sienna has provided a big piece of the puzzle. Now Shade is providing big pieces of the puzzle. The bonds launch was a huge deal. The staking derivatives launches have also been a huge deal. These are primitives that sort of underlie the ability to launch these more complex products. We don't have to be in a rush as an ecosystem, especially during a bear market, to take these things to market only to see them not have the demand. So the total focus right now is less to make sure we have the entire product stack of all possible DeFi applications represented across the protocol. It's to get TVL back up for the protocol to show that you should be keeping, whenever possible, your very valuable Web3 assets on a chain that you trust to actually protect your ownership of those assets. And we've always positioned Secret as like an issuance and settlement layer for fungible or non-fungible assets. It just makes so much sense. And it's a layer of protection for if you want to just keep these assets somewhere, especially in a multi-chain universe. A privacy hub is where you would go to protect these things. And if you can have this protection on Secret at the same time that these can be yielding assets, well, then all the better. So that's a big piece of our vision right now is how much can you do on Secret while still having these privacy protections by default? But it starts from a place of, can we get more end user adoption, more wallet support, better UX, and then as a result, more TVL. Once you have that TVL, once you have that super liquid ecosystem, it's a lot easier to launch these other primitives. And I think during a bear market, when it's hard to acquire TVL, that is the time to sort of double down on user experience and interoperability just to make sure the bridges are active so people can get into and out of the ecosystem. You can't bring money into the ecosystem, and you can't bring interest into the ecosystem if people don't have the roads to drive on to get there. So that's going to remain a focus over the coming weeks and months, is scaling out not only the products, but scaling out the bridges, scaling out the user experience to support the idea that we can hit 9 figures in TVL like we used to have, hit 9 figures in TVL again, hopefully by the end of this year. But that's certainly one of our main goals.
Yeah, especially when it comes to finance, the measure twice, cut once strategy is very prudent, and I have definitely seen the progress. And I just like to take a moment just to honor all the validators and developers. They're doing a wonderful job. Even as something like the improvements in the UI on I think Secret Swap and Sienna Swap, they did some UI improvements that made it a lot more interactive and a lot more intuitive to use. Though those are all additional tools which helps bring that user adoption. People have to feel comfortable and they have to feel like the UI is developed and consistent with other applications. They use not just crypto and trading assets, but just regular applications you would use on your computer or your phone. It has that more modern and polished look and feel. And so I think the validators and the developers have a lot to do with that. And so thank you. And I
They do.
appreciate your time.
They do. And thank you for that feedback. Yes, absolutely. Fortunately, these things tend to evolve only in one direction, right? Because it's an evolutionary environment. If you have terrible UX as an application, you're just not going to scale. You're just not going to live in any layer one ecosystem. So just naturally over time, all of this is going to improve for users in these sort of like competitive interchain markets. The best user experiences are going to win out. However, we don't think that should be at the expense of privacy. So therefore, we need a lot of great people, developers coming into our ecosystem with a deep understanding of user experience, who can build these private by default applications that are also competitive on that end user experience. And ultimately, that's the only direction this art can take in our ecosystem. Over time, it will get better for users. So just as you've given the feedback to the devs, I'd like to give a thank you back out to the users who have had patience along this evolution as we work out the kinks across the application ecosystem, as we work through some of the issues with viewing keys that led to query permits. We are discussing some changes that might even improve query permits themselves. So fewer interactions for the user with all the same privacy protections is a better user experience. We're constantly ideating on how we can make that more seamless and flawless so users can trust the privacy guarantees they're getting without it being a heavy lift for them. All of that is made possible by the feedback that's coming from the community about where they're still finding the pain points.
I'd like to just mention one other point is that you are putting the tutorials, the guides, to make those available on YouTube and other platforms. I think last week you put out a video on using the viewing keys and reissuing them. And I forget the name of the website. I think it was called Button, where you could actually use the viewing key to see your own past transactions or make it available to others. Those are the type of things that really are advertisements in and of themselves. I mean, they're definitely tutorials, but they also help the end users and developers and just everyone in general to realize the true power and the flexibility, because both go hand in hand. Security is vital, but if you have 10 locks on your doors, which are difficult to manage, it becomes cumbersome and it drives.
Yeah, you can't get into your own house.
Exactly. So thank you very much, and that's it. Be well.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that feedback. And that's great feedback for both us at the foundation making educational materials, but definitely the entire program at Secret Agents. If you're listening to this and you're not a secret agent, A, what are you doing? B, definitely get into the Discord, get in touch with some of the people who've been contributing to that program. They are creating those educational materials. They are those leaders. And Secret Agents have gone on to found companies in our ecosystems, to run successful validators, to join existing dApps, or even join the foundation in very high leverage roles in the ecosystem. It's the best way to just get onboarded with doing more with an ecosystem that really has a mission and an ethos and a purpose. So if you know Web3 is going to be a thing and you just haven't been sure where to apply yourself more, Agents is the sort of thing you can do in your spare time and learn a ton and make lifelong connections, but maybe even get that doorway into the next phase of whatever you want your career to be or your life to be. So definitely check it out. Go to scrt.network/agents. There's a great education working group within Secret Agents that's making a lot of the tutorial content that just got mentioned. If you want to help your fellow users and get compensated for that privilege, please consider joining the program. It's full of wonderful rewards and wonderful people, and you're only doing things that help people like you. So we appreciate it. And again, we appreciate all the feedback here. If there are any other questions about Shockwave Delta, about what we're doing here at Messari Mainnet, anything else we've been experiencing, now's the chance to put your hands up. We'll keep the space going for a few minutes longer if there's not much, but as long as there's questions, we'll keep this on. Otherwise, I'm going to get back to the booth and make sure that we answer everything secret. And then, of course, we have to get over to watch Guy because he'll be on stage shortly. But I'll open this for a little bit longer. If anybody's got questions for us up here on stage, please stick up your hand. We'll do our best to answer. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us. It's a short one today because we got to go back to the floor and do our jobs, educating the next generation of Web3 users around the private by default ethos and approach and why that is the future here. We believe it. Oh, we got one last hand. I will bring you up, brother. Here we go. All right, NorCal, you're up here.
Oh, hey, thanks for everything. Thanks for the Twitter spaces. These are awesome. I just had a question. Is there a badge for today?
That is a really great question. So because of the mainnet upgrade, and because we weren't sure if the network was going to be even working at the time that we were doing this, we don't have a badge today. This is the first Secret Spaces in a long time where we haven't issued a badge. So don't worry, no one's missing out on a badge today. We are going to be able to give out some NFTs here on the ground. So if you see some people claiming badges that aren't the traditional ones, it's because they came to our party here or they stopped by our booth. Like, that's a fun thing that we get to do to really recognize the people who did that. We wish we had something today to recognize all of you who showed up to the spaces. We really appreciate you collecting all the badges from space to space. So apologies that we couldn't get that together because of the mainnet upgrade. I do expect we'll have something put together, though, for the one that's next week, even though we'll still be on the ground at Cosmoverse and things will be a little bit messy. Because there won't be a mainnet upgrade at the same time, there shouldn't be any issues getting badges issued back out to people and thanking you for your support of the ecosystem.
I just wish I could be there. Have a great time.
We do too, but don't worry. Is there anywhere you want us to come so that you can go?
Oh, San Francisco Bay Area?
All right, it's on the list.
Awesome.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
That's all you got to do. Stick your hand up and tell us where you want to see secrets next. And obviously, that's got a pretty big developer ecosystem. We are trying to get out to the Bay Area and the West Coast a little bit more often. If not later this year, then hopefully early next. There's usually some good opportunities going on. I think Blockchain Expo is coming up. I heard somebody's going to be speaking there that I ran into here. He says he's speaking on a privacy panel, so look out for that. But I don't think we'll be able to make that one. We will make upcoming ones. If you ever want to highlight an event that you'd like to see Secret at, DM this account or drop it in the Discord. We do keep track of all those suggestions, and it may be what determines where we show up next, because we know we'll be able to meet at least a couple members of the community when we go. So we appreciate the suggestion. We'd love to see you out there.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Like I said, short this week and no badge this week, so a little out of the ordinary for spaces, but some critical updates we wanted to share since today is also the mainnet upgrade date. Super exciting to see that went well. Really awesome to see the engagement here on the ground in New York, which means I have to get back to work. But thank you, everybody, for coming to today's Secret Spaces. We will do this again next week. We'll announce the time. I'm not positive yet if it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. Usually these are always Tuesday, 4 p.m. UTC. We try to make it a regular thing. This week a little weird, next week a little weird because we're all on the ground, us who usually host these spaces, all on the ground at these conferences. But we're definitely going to do our best to make sure we do these still every single week like clockwork. So we'll see you next week at some time for Secret Spaces. Keep an eye on the Twitter, follow us here, and we'll let you know when that is, let you know how to get your badge. But in the meantime, thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you on the next one. And for those of you in New York, hope we see you here. And for those coming to Columbia, we will see you there.